अभिपूज्यमानोत्तमाया गुरुपदेशतः प्रणवार्थप्रबोधिन्यं नमामि गुरुपादिके श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः क्रीं मात्रे नमः नमः सदसे. Okay, now let us talk about Siddhis. These Siddhis or power manifestations, what Nithyananda is calling as Shakthis, is a major part of his propaganda, is a major argument for proving himself as an enlightened being, and is considered as a major achievement of his organization. And these Siddhis are the basis for the stupendous claims that he has made, like walking on water, walking on the thorns, levitating, so many things, third eye, and all of these things, reading the Akashic records, doing body scanning with just your eyes. So many of these things, so many of these siddhis which he is calling as Shakti, there is no proof for that. He is speaking about these things. So there are a few common questions which we need to address here. First of all, what is wrong with this? That is the very first question. It has been stated in our tradition that a yogi will attain certain powers when he is going through certain spiritual processes. Now, the question is, what is wrong with this? If it is stated in the scriptures he will attain it, then what is wrong? The answer is, he will not only attain it, it is stated in our scriptures, he will not only attain it, but he also has to discard it. He cannot flaunt it, he cannot make it as a goal. Now Nithyananda is accepting to this one point, stating that you cannot call these siddhis as your goals. They are only side effects of your sadhana. At the same time, they are the milestones, or they are the markers that you are going in the right path of the sadhana. This is his statement, which is theoretically alright. I will agree with him 100% on this. When you are attaining certain siddhis, it means you are going in the right path. When you are attaining certain siddhis, it is the validation of your sadhana. And when you are not using those siddhis and simply discarding them and forging ahead with your sadhana, that is the way to go. There is no doubt about this. However, the problem is, these very same siddhis are being used as proof of his enlightenment, or proof of anyone's enlightenment in his group. And this is his major selling point. So, you are not discarding your siddhis. That is the problem. And also, siddhis will happen at two levels. One is altered state of mind. In that altered state of mind, our body can do so many things. For example, we have seen cases wherein people do extreme things, like a mother who's in an earthquake situation, like she'll be lifting tons of stone with her bare hands to save her child. We have seen all of these kinds of examples, superhuman things. Like we have seen a couple who have swum all the way from the middle of the ocean to the shore when they got into a shipwreck kind of situation. All of these things are possible. Superhuman feats are possible. But the problem is, these superhuman feats happen due to altered states of mind, which in turn alter the chemicals in our body. These are not yoga siddhis. These are simply siddhis, these are not even siddhis, these are simply manifestations of our already existing energy, already existing chemicals, which only require a certain situation to trigger them. So if you are able to trigger these these chemicals, and if you are able to trigger these actions through your own will, by creating certain energy situation inside you, that is called as a siddhi. And when that energy situation happens by itself as a part of your spiritual growth, these siddhis naturally manifest themselves. Okay, so far I am saying theoretically siddhis do exist. So the main question is, what is wrong then with the practice of manifesting these siddhis? Why are you against it? I am not against manifesting the siddhi as a part of your spiritual sadhana. I am against this Nithyananda fellow trying to use these siddhis as a selling point, trying to use them as a validation of your spirituality. But he is very careful here. He is also saying, well, these are only side effects. They can happen physically. They can also happen at a energy level. That is fine. But why are you saying? Why are you insisting that anybody can attain this siddhi en masse as a group? That is my question. Now, what is wrong with this? That is the question that's being posted. What is wrong with this? What is wrong if he wants to bring back an India which had rishis and seers like that? What is wrong? Why are you? What is your problem with that? On one level, this is okay, acceptable. On another level, you need to understand some of these siddhis which were practiced in the society were actually prohibited for the Kali Yuga by the Shastras. I can give you pramana for this. I just need to go back and read some books which I don't have with me right now. I have to go and do a little bit of research. But I will be giving you pramanas for these things in the future videos. So these some practices are prohibited for Kali Yuga to be done on a common basis. If you are doing one Hatha Yoga practice and if you are attaining one siddhi on the way, it is fine. You can just cross it and you can go. But if you want to give that siddhi to 100 people at a time, to make a community of such practitioners, of such tantrics in a place, it is actually prohibited. And another question is, okay, what will happen if we do that? What he is proposing right now is that I am going to create 200, 300 students who can walk on water. He is boldly making these claims. He is boldly making these claims and he has not walked on water himself. He is creating an undefendable position for Hinduism and he is creating an undefendable position for his disciples. This is the problem that I see with this whole discourse. That is, he is saying, I can make people walk on water. Within so and so days, within 21 days, I can make people walk on water. But it has been 2 years, 3 years since that has happened. If you are making such blatant claims, then you have to back them up. Otherwise, people will not only laugh at you and your disciples, they will also laugh at the religion that you represent. They will laugh at me, and that is the reason why I am getting involved here. Another common argument, not related to the Siddhis, is another common question is, whenever these kinds of gurus are being criticized, their students will come and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? What is your contribution to the society? What have you done? This is a very childish argument, because I am not claiming 200 bogus titles. I am not claiming all of these miracles. So the responsibility of answering the question is on that public figure who is claiming all these things and not on the person who is questioning. This is a pathetic, childish argument, but unfortunately when you are in a brainwashed situation, when you are in a situation that you are not allowed to think for yourself, this is how your logic will be. I can understand. I can seriously sympathize for you, but I cannot forgive you or let it go. I will keep asking questions until you start asking questions. And the moment you start asking questions, you will understand how stupid your previous questions were when you are supporting him. This is the situation with so many of your friends who have come out of your organization. Go and speak to them. You will understand their point of view. But unfortunately, you will be fed stories, horrible stories about people whom you knew, whom you were sleeping with in the same place and whom you were eating with in the same hall, who was working above you, who the Guru himself has praised previously. The moment they walk out of the organization, horrible stories will be created by them, and you will be believing those stories, accepting those stories without questioning. And that is the point when you need to understand you are in a dangerous situation. They can make you believe anything. This is not different from brainwashing a person into a suicide situation, into a suicide bombing situation. The terrorist organization which brainwashed their members to go and kill 200, 300 people and kill themselves in the name of religion or in the name of their policy or in the name of their political doctrine, that is no different from making you accept every single thing that the organization is proposing to you. Please understand this. Now, coming back to the Siddhis, what is wrong with manifesting Siddhis en masse? What is wrong with bringing back those days where Siddhis were very common? Two things happened at the end of the 19th century and the start of the 20th century. End of the 20th century and start of the 21st century. 1880, all the way till 1940s, something happened. There was a organization called Theosophical Society. There is an organization called Theosophical Society, and when it was started in those days, it was started as an organization seeking psychic powers, spiritual powers, and according to them, spirituality was to connect with the spirit world at various levels. And when I say spirit world, I mean clairvoyance, that is hearing things from far off, seeing things from far off, and then telekinesis, moving things without touching. All of these practices were predominantly their goal, to attain the Siddhis that are mentioned in the Indian scriptures. This was their aim. This was one organization. They wanted to create a group of practitioners who can en masse create this kind of a Siddhi situation, Shakti situation, whatever you might want to call it. Another group, and Theosophical Society was formed by Westerners, so they took a different approach to it and they ended up in a different place. Another group was Indra Sangha. This was formed by a person called Kavyakanta Ganapati Munigal. He was a great scholar, and he was called as Kavyakanta because he will be able to create epics from here. He doesn't have to think. Epics are here for him. Like when you are speaking something, you are speaking from here. You are simply speaking. That is, it is in his throat. Is a saying in India. That is, meaning it is very easy for him to say that. They will say, it came till here, I did not say. It will be very easy for me to say that. Like that, this person can create epics in Sanskrit, Telugu and Telugu, not in Tamil. Sanskrit and Telugu from here. He also knew Tamil. His name was Ganapati. So, Ganapati Shastri. And he was called Kavyakanta Ganapati Munigal. He was a Ashtavadani. He was a great Nyaya philosopher. Very great scholar. Well learned person. And a very great poet. No doubts about it. He wrote so many books in Sanskrit and in Telugu. Very great scholar. No doubt about it. But what he wanted to do was, he wanted to tap the Ashtra Vidya, which is the science of creating weapons that were used. These are spiritual weapons, energy weapons, that were supposed to be used in the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. And Atharva Veda seems to have a Upaveda for this science, which is not available right now in reality. It is not available. So various mantras were there. And these Divya Ashtras, as they were called, Divya Ashtras means divine weapons, as they were called, were given to Arjuna by Indra. So he named his Sangha as the Indra Sangha. And only based on this Indra Sangha, the very first flag that was designed by, and he was also connected to the Theosophical Society, the very first flag that was created for India by three great women. One was Madam Bikaji Kama. She was a Parsi woman who was supporting, she was a very rich woman who was supporting the extremist movement, that is the militant wing of the Indian freedom fight from England. She was born an Indian and she was supporting it. She was a very rich woman by name Madam Bikaji Kama. And another person was Sister Nivedita, student of Swami Vivekanda, and Dr. Annie Besant of the Theosophical Society. These three women came together and they created the first flag of the independent India, even before the independence of India, during when this home rule movement was being discussed. So that flag had a Vajra, which is the weapon of Indra, in it. This is through this connection, just to establish, I'm saying. So, for your understanding, for remembering these things. So, what happened was these people tried to create that thing, and he achieved something there. No doubt, he read about Parashurama, he read about the Atharva Veda, he studied a lot, and he had a lot of mantra siddhi. So, he achieved something, and he had a group of youngsters with him who achieved something. But unfortunately, he became delusional, and he had to go running to Ramana Maharshi. And Ramana actually saved him. He saved some disaster from happening, but he had to leave his body at a very young age. And he has to dispel his community, dispel his disciples, stop them from continuing these practices, and he disposed everything. He stopped everything before he passed away, and he passed away at a very young age of 34, 36, I suppose. 36 or 38, I'm not sure. So, what happens here was, Kavyakanta Ganapati Rishi, or Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni, was a person who was in association with Aurobindo, who was in association with the Theosophical Society and Ramana Maharshi. And he tried doing this Siddhi play on a mass level, on a public level, and it completely backfired on him. This is available in the records of Ramanashram. This is available through his letters written to Aurobindo and others, and to Annie Besant. This is available in various places, but it is not a matter of public record. So you can do the research if you want to. Then, another thing is, this is a matter of public record, what I am going to speak about next. Theosophical Society itself. Lead Beater, Helena Hume, and then General Olcott, and then Madame Blavatsky. All of these people, they were chasing Siddhis. And they had a project. The project was to create a person who was a universal guru, who was a universal messiah. And they wanted to train them from a very young age. They wanted to train this person from a very young age. Just like what Nithyananda is doing with his Bala Sannyasis. They wanted to train him from a very young age. But they did not select many people. They selected only 2 children from a clerk who was working for them. They were his children. So they selected him, and they were brothers. Both were boys and they were brothers. And they brought them up. Theosophical Society brought them. They gave him very rigorous practices. Both of the children, they gave very rigorous practices, and they taught so many things to them. After all of these things happened, they suffered a lot, and finally, one of the 2 boys, the younger boy, I think his name was Niranjan, he passed away at the age of 17. He got jaundice and typhoid. It was a complex fever, and these people asked him to treat himself with his own siddhis and with his own powers which he was supposed to have manifested, and he passed away. And the elder brother alienated himself from this moment. He got fed up, he hated them, he alienated himself from that moment, and he came out of that organization. He became what is known as an anti-guru. He said this entire concept of guru is wrong. Do not follow anybody. All the traditions are wrong. All the scriptures are bullshit. This is how he started speaking. And we know him as J. Krishnamurti. So, this is the example of training a person from a very young age into a deluded concept, into a prohibited concept of Siddhis. And also trying to create Siddhis on a mass level. That cannot happen. In addition to this, another statement that he is making is, practice is required only at the initial level. If you are just coming into this energy sphere, into his energy sphere, it will happen automatically. So if that is the case, at least if your Siddhi is coming out of your practice, there is one small guarantee that you will use it wisely, or you will not abuse it. But if it is being given to you for free like this, then what kind of responsibility are you holding? On top of that, all of these siddhis are arcane things. They are very mystical, and that is how they are supposed to be. All of this vidya is called as guhya vidya, meaning secret knowledge, and that is how it is supposed to be kept. You cannot flaunt it outside. And speaking of these things, I would like to address the matter of levitation that he claimed. Actually, I will provide the links in the description. There is a competition happening called as Yogic flying competition. Have you heard of it? Yogic flying competition. It is a very hilarious video. You must watch it. It is being conducted by the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi Foundation. He is one more conman who went to the US, and he profited out of the New Age movement that happened in the United States. And he was the guru of Timothy Leary, Ramdas, and all those people, the Beatles. I think my viewers will know who he is. So, transcendental meditation. So, what he did was, he said, I will teach yogic levitation. I will just keep you like this in the air. And the technique that he used for this was, put Padmasana, fold your knees together, pull it up and leave it down. What will happen? Body will jump. You do like this, body will jump. And by jumping like this, you can slowly levitate. By jumping like this, you can slowly levitate. Please understand how ridiculous this is sounding, and that is how ridiculous it is. Levitation can happen. I am not saying it cannot happen. I am only saying these people are approaching it wrongly. You ask me, have you seen levitation with your own eyes? My answer will be no. But it is stated in the scriptures that it can happen. And so, I am saying there is a possibility. But I have not seen anybody do levitation. This is not my answer. This was the exact answer that Swami Vivekanda gave about levitation. While speaking about levitation, as usual, Nithyananda is doing a Google search. And the very first page that we land on has got like 5-6 translations, I think 8 translations of the Yoga Sutra, Patanjali Yoga Sutra. And out of this Patanjali Yoga Sutra, he is quoting Swami Nithyananda, Swami Vivekananda, another 2 Swamis he is quoting there. So he is quoting these 3 Swamis, Swami Prabhasananda and another person. He is quoting the last 3 of those 5 people who are given, because the first 2 people he did not know whom they were supposed to, then I don't know, that's okay. So I will also provide the link in the description. So when that levitation is being practiced, this is what Swami Vivekananda translated. Does this mean he is totally accepting this? For that I will provide another link wherein he, in his interview to a reporter of a magazine called The Commercial, Swami Vivekananda is clearly saying, I do not know if it has happened. He is a very honest person. He is a very honest person, and he is saying, I have not seen that happen. And then you will say the levitating monk Baduri Mahasaya mentioned in the autobiography of a yogi, that is where your yarn starts spinning. Even Paramahamsa Nitya Yogananda has spun a lot of yarn. I am openly saying this. Sorry, I am a little bit confused with my words. So I am openly saying that he spun yarn, lot of yarn. So the yarn spinning starts with Yogananda. But Swami Vivekananda will never spin yarn. He is against all of these things. So he is clearly saying, I do not know. I have not seen a yogi personally who can levitate. He is accepting the fact. Just like you and me who's watching here. Have you seen somebody levitate? Do not call jumping as levitation. Then kangaroos are yogis. Okay. So what happens was, when you take a still picture of a person when he is jumping, especially when he is in the upper peak point, it will feel like he is levitating. So he published these posters. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi published these posters, and he earned a lot of money using this technique. But finally, when that did not happen, he said, I will teach you yogic flying. And he said, jump from here to there, that is called as flying. And now they are conducting flying yoga competitions, wherein they are using inch tape, measuring tape, for measuring how long did a person jump, how high did a person jump. This is ridiculous. The most, insulting behavior that you can do to yoga. By measuring a person's yoga, using a measuring tape based on how long he can jump. You are not even bringing yoga down to a physical level, you are making a mockery out of it. And that same technique is what Nithyananda is using. And I will also give a link to his video, his levitation video. You can see how people are levitating and how these people are levitating. At least Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's levitators or jumpers, they have tried to perfect the art. But his disciples are just like him, lazy fellows who cannot even do that properly. So this is about the levitation part. Now there is another connection between these two people as far as the Siddhis are concerned. Whenever Nithyananda is saying that his methods are scientifically proven, he is referring to the Berkeley University research. And this Berkeley University Research Foundation, they are denying any connection whatsoever to Nithyananda. They said, yes, we received a paper, but we did not approve it. But when you submit a paper in a university, it does not mean it is true. Only when the peer review happens and only when it is approved, you can say it is a valid scholarly article, it is scientifically proven. That is not the case. He did this because the California University in Berkeley, that has got a Far East Asian Studies chapter, so they will accept any paper about India and Indian tradition. So what happened was he submitted this paper there. Same thing Maharishi Mahesh Yogi also did, and he claimed that it was a successful peer review. So this is the connection there. Another connection is there. That is, both of these people are using the same Guru Puja. In fact, any yogic organization in India, the modern yogic organizations, will use this one particular Guru Puja. And this Guru Puja will start with Narayanam Padmabhavam Vasishtam Shaktinchidat Putra Parasaram Cha Vyasam Sukam Gaudavadam Mahantam Govindra Yogindra Mahamadasya Sishyam Sri Shankaracharya Madasya Padma Padmajasta Maganja Sishyam Tamtarakano Totakam Vatratakaraniam Asmat Guru Sampradam Rosmi Siddhis Lodhi Purana Malayan Puranalayam Nami Bhavat Pajankaram Logadankaram and then Shankaram Shankaracharya Keshavam Badarayanam Subrabhashankato Vande Bhavanto Punah Punaha Yatvare Nigiradam Padajat Tatte Vidaktavnisham Srila Srila Jagat Gurugaram Dhyayanu Jyotirmayam Brahmanandam Paramasupatam Kevalam Jnanamuktim Dvandvadidam Trigunaragitam Tattvamasya Direksham. This is how it will go. Now Sri Brahmananda Saraswati Gurugaram Dhyayanu Jyotirmayam. This is the central line of that Guru Puja ritual. So this is called as the Vyasa Guru Puja, meaning this is done during the Vyasa Purnima festival, and this is a very important thing for all the Advaita Vedantis because this is the Advaita Guru Parampara. Now the problem is, when you are teaching this, when you are doing this, you are associating yourself with what is called as the Advaita Guru Parampara, and you are associating yourself through a very important Guru in the middle called as Brahmananda Saraswati. And this Brahmananda Saraswati was the Shankaracharya of the Uttaramnaya Shankaramata, that is the northernmost Shankaramata in India, which is currently located, it is called as Jyotirmat. It is currently located in the Uttarakhand state of India. And Maharishi Mahesh Yogi worked in that ashram. He was not an ordained sannyasi from that ashram. He never claimed himself to be a sannyasi. He worked in that ashram as a some kind of like manual labor he was doing there, and he claimed himself to be a yogi later. So what happened here was, he did this yogic levitation technique, then he did this yogic flying technique. Now it has become a yogic flying competition and they are measuring with inch tape. Same thing is happening here. They are simply jumping around. My problem with Nithyananda is not that he is claiming to be a yogi. He is claiming to be a yogi and he is being ridiculous. He is putting Sanatana Dharma, his disciples and himself in undefensible positions because he has got some megalomaniac character, psychological problem. There are 3 P's that he does not like. 3 P's are allergic for him. 1 P is psychologists. He will hate psychologists. Any of these New Age gurus will say psychology is a trap for human beings, it is for destroying humanity, all these things. Because all of their techniques, all of their methods for brainwashing, they can be easily dismantled through psychology. So they do not like psychology and psychotherapy. And if somebody is aware of the psychological techniques, then they will not be able to manipulate that person. So they hate psychology. First P. Second P is philosophy, because philosophy arises from logic. And if we logically dismantle their claims, and if we start asking for three evidences, that is Sabda Pramana, this one, Pratyaksha, Anumana and Shabda Pramana, or Pratyaksha, Anumana and Aptavachana, or Pratyaksha, Anumana and this one, Pratyaksha, Anumana and what is the third one? Testimony, Agama Pramana. So, whatever you might want to call it. So, in various systems, it is in different manners. So, when they start asking for these things, they will be in trouble. So, they do not like philosophers like me. And also, they do not like priests. That is the third P. He will be giving so many example stories, and he will indirectly ridicule lots of priests, because they are the people who are the current holders of, I am not speaking about a caste here, please do not make it into a caste problem. There are priests from so many castes. Every caste has a temple and every caste has a priest. And other caste people will not be allowed in that temple. This is not a stigma or anything like that. This is a social system, totally different subject. So I am not speaking about caste here when I say priest. I am simply saying anybody who is doing traditional worship is a priest. Who has learned to do traditional worship is a priest. So he will hate them, because they will say what you are doing is not traditional and it is not acceptable. So priests, philosophers and psychologists. So these are the three people whom he does not like. And unfortunately, through my management training, through my HRER training, I have read a lot of psychology, and out of my own interest. And also, I am a traditional practitioner of the religion. So you can say I am a priest in the shrine that I have at my home. And I am also a philosopher, because I study philosophy, because I have no other term to give to the Shastras that I am studying in English. I have a very big problem translating words from Sanskrit and Tamil to English, because the language is so poorly developed to explain the concepts of spirituality. So I am all the three of the things. So continue to hate me, I don't mind. But make sure that you are asking the questions that I am asking inside your organization. Or if you are outside the organization, ask this question to people who try to convince you from inside the organization. Ask these questions in public spheres, ask these questions in social media. Take these background stories and say, why did you say like that day, and why are you saying like this day? What happened to that speech? What happened to that promise? You start asking these questions, and these people will become powerless, and slowly the organization will start to shrink. And that is my purpose and my goal here. Because I have to defend the Dharma, not only from outside forces, but also from inside forces like this. And that is my duty as a Sanatani. And that is my contribution. My contribution is my own spiritual growth and the safeguarding of the others by creating awareness like this. This is my contribution. If you feel that this is greater than or lesser than that fellow who is sitting there and making money out of this, then it is your own delusion and not my problem. Dacham yora vanimahe gatum yajnaya gatum yajnavataye devi swastirastanaha swastirmanushyabhyaha urvam jugada veshajam shanno astu drupate sanchatushpate shanti shanti shanti. Namaskar.